My first experience of language learning was when I was 6 years old. I started to play the piano and I eventually found a way to express myself with music. If I was sad, I could play an extremely depressing Chopin nocturne. And if I was happy, I could whip out some Mozart. The thing is, humans have a need to express themselves. We have a need to listen and to be heard, and this is truly impossible without languages. Something that doesn't occur to monolinguals, that is, someone who only speaks one language, is that we express things in a completely different manner depending on which language we are speaking. Buongiorno a tutti, me llamo Lucy y je suis étudiante de langue à la fac. Hablo inglés, dado que es mi lengua materna porque yo soy de Escocia, pero también hablo francés y español a nivel universitario. Alors, c'est clair que je ne parle ni français ni espagnol couramment, mais je dirais que finalement, je peux m'exprimer dans ces deux langues. C'est-à-dire que je peux discuter de n'importe quel sujet et je vais avoir des choses à dire. En plus, ho vissuto in Italia per 2 mesi e preso un semestre di italiano. Und jetzt ich lerne Deutsch. Which, stay tuned for that because that's going to be a good video. That's 5 languages, guys, all at completely different levels. So I don't think it's wrong for me to say that I'm allowed to talk about language learning. I think I'm qualified. Now, before I make my points on why everyone needs to try to learn a new language, even just a little bit, I just want to say, by learning a language, I did not mean high school language learning.
Je veux que la vie soit plus fluide.
God, no. I feel like high school and the education system in general demonizes language learning. We make it feel like it's all boring grammar.
Je suis. Tu es. Il est.
When I say language learning, I mean the fun way, the way where you throw yourself into a conversation and a language exchange, even though you feel a little uncomfortable, and you come out of it and you think, my brain was in Spanish. I wasn't translating anywhere. I was speaking Spanish. Or maybe you finally learn how German sentence structure is and you realize you can do it. Or you can go to France for a couple of weeks and you can order at a restaurant for your whole family. Isn't that impressive? Speaking of language learning, I hope I can convince you guys to learn a language. And I'm going to quickly tell you how I've been learning German because I'm taking a 30-day German marathon sprint with Lingoda and it has been incredible. It has been so fun. I think I forgot how much joy you can get for learning languages. Now, February is the month of love, the month of amore. And this is a great opportunity to learn how to tell the people you love in your life, I love you in different languages, je t'aime, ti amo, and so on, and have some fun with it. As a language student myself, I can vouch for how Lingoda's method is so genius. It has the benefits of taking intimate night classes with a native speaker, but without the struggle of trying to find a timetable that suits you, because Lingoda is 24 hours, so they really work around your schedule, and they're so flexible. I've done classes at 7 a.m. I've done classes at 10 p.m. and I just have a look at my schedule and see what works for me and when I think the class is going to be best. And I look at what kind of learning goal I want to achieve that day and I show up. It's as easy as that. Another reason that I'm a big fan of Lingoda is each class you take has like a learning goal. And for example, next week, I'm going to be learning how to order a coffee in German, which this is useful stuff. This is the stuff that I want to learn. I know we need to learn a bit of the grammar and that, but I want to know how to introduce myself, how to tell people where I work. For my first German class, I felt like I could have a good minute of chatting in German and I could follow the conversation, which is so quick because they really push you. So if during this video I convince you to learn languages, you can use my link below to get 30% off your first month and also a free 7-day trial so you can try it out. So I really recommend you check out the free trial and learn something new in a new language and see how it feels. Maybe you'll find a new passion for it. Okay, I've categorized this into 4 different sections to give my proof as to why I believe that learning languages gives you the advantage in life. I don't really like using statistics in this. I would rather give a point of view because we all know that statistics end up being outdated after a while, and a lot of them are false and some of them are just made up completely. So I'm going to be giving it in the basis of my knowledge. I'm going to try to avoid statistics. The first one is the work advantage. Now, it's no secret that having a second or even third language on your CV can be super beneficial. It's actually one of the things that employers look for most after computer science areas like coding and data analysis. Now, if I'm to try and theorize why having foreign languages on your CV are so beneficial, I would say that now in 2022, so many companies are international and they're not based in the one city anymore where one language is only needed. We have people from all over the world working for companies. We have different offices depending on the city. And so if you have on your CV this fact that, yeah, I can communicate with people from the other offices, or I could perhaps help with the translation aspect. We want more of that in the world, especially in the English-speaking world where having second languages aren't that common. Now, another one is work opportunities. Let's look at a map right now. This is a map of official English-speaking countries. So imagine you only speak English in this example. Look at where your work opportunities lie. You know, you've got a good chance, and I guess so many other countries in the world are cool when English is your only other language, but what if you added Spanish to it? Now look at all the work opportunities you have, all the countries that you could live in. Now, is it any surprise as to why language learning is so vital? Not only do you have the advantage of having more opportunities at work, but you have the advantage that you can live abroad with your job. Now the social advantage. These are all the cheesy ones, but the ones that I do think are really important. When you open up to another language, you're opening up to all these potential friends that you have. I've been very lucky that because of my language learning abilities, I have made many friends, and by going to language exchanges and meeting people, say at Erasmus parties, I've been able to meet people that I wouldn't have otherwise. Now, another one is when we look at the travel aspect. Travel is so much more enjoyable when you're in a country where you speak the language, and of course we can't learn a language every time we travel, but if there's a country that you're particularly interested in, being able to get by in the language will help you immensely. When I first arrived in France and I was too nervous to even order a coffee, I started to get down about it, and after 6 months of living in the city, I realized, okay, I can nail this. I can talk to the barista as I make my coffee. I can ask for oat milk without trying to look on Google Translate how they say it in French or how they say it in German. And if you've ever done a train travel like me with Interrail, being able to understand the language at the train stations was vital when you have quick train connections. I know that's a bit niche, but there's plenty more examples like that. I also believe that with the social aspect of learning a language, you can finally see things in different points of view. You know, maybe you have a friend whose native language is completely different from you, and you don't understand why they always make this grammatical mistake, or why they're very blunt, or why they swear so much. And a lot of it can be down to just the language that they grew up in, and that's why they're that way. And I think it's something that more people should look into. And I think this is a really good bridge into the cultural advantage of learning a language. We all hate the news. Everyone knows that the news is the worst. And one reason for that is because of stereotype. When we don't understand a country because it's different to our own, a lot of us form stereotypes, and a lot of stereotypes have just come through generations and generations. And when you get to know a language and therefore get to know the culture of another place, we can help to reduce stereotypes in the world. We can understand that the way things are across the world most likely have a historical reason. Actually, I have this story when I was traveling and I was in Vienna. This girl came up. It was a Sunday, and if you have ever been to Europe, you know that on Sunday most things are closed. And this girl came up to the receptionist, said, "Why are you guys too lazy to work a Sunday?" And the receptionist was just shook at this girl who just didn't understand the culture behind Sundays in Europe, and how originally it came from a religious background, but now it's more about spending time with your family and having a day of rest, as they call it. In her head, she only saw it as people being lazy, and that's just a pure example of how the lack of understanding we have of the world can make us a bit rude. Another great culture advantage is when you learn a language, you end up learning the culture and the history that comes with it. For example, we cannot learn a language without having cultural awareness. we can't learn a language without understanding the history, because a lot of idioms and expressions and the way that we discuss in certain languages have historical backgrounds in them, and it's probably one of my favorite parts about speaking a different language. Speaking of the way that we express things, something that I found beautiful that I learned was that if I were to say in English, I broke my arm, as you can say, I've already blamed myself. I broke it myself. Or maybe if you're in a really unfortunate situation, someone broke my arm. This guy on the street broke my arm, which I hope isn't the case. Well, in Spanish, they have a different expression for that, and it's se rompió, which means it got broken. It's been broken. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying my arm is now broken. As much as it's a little subtlety in the language, I find it beautiful. Now, the last advantage is, I'm going to call it the brain advantage, and that is because there are so many neurological benefits of speaking a second or third language. The first thing is that people have found that when we learn a second language, we're better at making decisions in the second language because we aren't as emotionally connected to this language, which is so true when I think about how when I'm speaking French, I'm way more direct and the answer is way more simple compared to when I'm in English, which is, I guess, a very rambly language, and I guess as a native, I become very rambly. I find it hard to make a decision, and so learning a second language can help you with your decision making. Another important one is problem solving. Apparently, and I'm not going to add a statistic, those who learn second languages or third languages become better at problem solving. And I guess if I'm to theorize why, we look at how in different languages we have to structure our sentences in different ways and we have to speak in different manners, and I believe that this helps that part of your brain that's problem solving. The last brain function, the reason why having a second language can give you the advantage, is memory improvement. More languages have an improved memory function, and I know that when I'm 80, I want to know that I've done everything I can to not forget absolutely everything that's going on in my brain, so I'm glad that I speak more than one language. You know, when I was originally conceptualizing this video, my idea was to say why we should learn languages, but I ended up just finding so many advantages of learning languages that I felt this title was better. And a lot of people, when they think about language learning, they find it to be something that's pointless or it's just a hobby, whereas I see that by learning a language, you really do have an advantage that others don't. So thank you for watching this video, and thanks again to Lingoda. Remember, you can use my link to get a free week and 30% off your first month. If you enjoyed this video, here are 2 more, and if you don't want to watch them, that's okay. I hope you have a lovely week, and bye-bye.